In the days of long ago, our continent was not called America. No white men lived in it, but people with brown skins. We call them Indians, but that was the name the white men gave them. This book tells a little about the country before the explorers came. It tells also how the people from Europe sailed across the ocean and found a new continent. They called it the New World. Later, it was given the name America. Before the white men came. It was very quiet in the forest. In a clear space among the trees, deer were feeding. Sometimes they raised their heads and looked around them. Was anything coming through the bushes? Was that a twig crackling? The deer listened for every sound. Now there was a sound. Something was coming. It came very quietly, but the deer heard it. Away they went into the bushes and among the tall trees. And as they went, an arrow came singing, whistling through the air. It did not touch the deer, but it made them go even faster than before. The man who had frightened the deer came out into the grassy space. He was tall and straight, with red-brown skin and black hair. With another arrow ready to shoot, he stopped and looked around through the trees, but the deer were gone, and the hunter went on his way. Far from the forest, out on the flat, grassy plains, other brown-skinned hunters were bringing home buffalo meat. These hunters lived in tents or teepees made of skins. The teepees were easy to roll up and to carry from one place to another. When the buffalo moved, the hunters and their families moved with them. If they did not follow the buffalo, there would be no fresh meat to eat. In other parts of the country, the brown-skinned people lived in houses that could not be moved so easily. These people were farmers as well as hunters. They built houses of the branches of trees and covered them with skins with mud, with the bark of trees, or with mats made of grass or rushes. Some houses were round in shape, and some were long. Each tribe or group of people had its own kind of house, built in the way that was best suited to the part of the country in which they lived. In the south, on the sides of high cliffs, there were houses that were built of blocks of stone. Many people lived in these houses, and they were really villages. After a time, the people who lived in these houses learned to build them of sun-baked mud instead of stone. Later, the white men called them pueblos, the Spanish word meaning villages. Then there were people who built beautiful cities with houses of stone and temples decorated with fine carvings and with gold and silver. One group lived in the part of North America that we now call Mexico. They were called the Aztecs. Other tribes built cities in South America and what is now Central America. Each tribe dressed in its own way, usually the way that was best for the climate. In warm parts of the country, they wore no clothes at all. In the winter and in the colder parts of the country, they wore skins of animals and furs. Each group of people worked out ways of traveling most suited to its needs. Those who lived near the sea or near lakes and rivers made canoes of birch bark or dugouts from hollow logs. On the west coast, some of the people who lived where there was tar or asphalt, made boats of rough boards. These were made watertight by caulking between the boards with tar. They were peaceful people, and there were others who constantly made wars on other tribes. No one is quite sure how all these people came to be living on this continent. It is thought that came from Asia, but they have been here for a long time before the white men came. The explorers called the continent the New World. It was new because they had not seen it before. There were so many new or different things to see.